Do you ever think back on some of your previous rookie drafts and think, why did I take that guy? That was so stupid. Well, hopefully we'll help you fix that problem. Garret Price back again on the Dynasty Nerds YouTube page. And today I have 3 mistakes that you should avoid in your rookie drafts here in 2022. And these are going to be tried and true. So this could have applied to last year's draft. This could apply to 23, 24, 25, and so on. And look, it's not an exact science. There's going to be times where you mess up, you take a player, and they just, for whatever reason, don't pan out. But there's a few things that really help make sure that you increase your odds of really landing the right pick. And I want to go over those today. First one here, drafting based on situation. Do not do that. Avoid that mistake. Do not draft based on a player's situation. We've seen this over and over and over where a player gets drafted into a bad situation, quote unquote, and all of a sudden the situation changes drastically. And all of a sudden it's a great situation with a much better quarterback and an upgraded whatever. Or the opposite's true. You draft a guy simply because he's in a good situation. I kid you not, I was in a draft in 2020 where someone drafted Cole Harmon. Or wait, that would have been 2019? 2019. Yeah. He drafted him 4th overall. Cole Hardman, 4th overall, simply because he was paired with Patrick Mahomes. So let's not elevate players or devalue players strictly on their situation. If we've seen anything this past offseason, so many players have changed teams. So many guys have been traded. So many guys have decided to utilize their abilities in free agency and go elsewhere. Don't draft simply based on the situation. All right, I interrupt this video because I want to talk about Prize Picks here real quick. Prize Picks is one of our newest sponsors over at Dynasty Nerds, and it's the best place to do your props. If you're like, hey, I'm already thinking about the 2022 season, I want to look at how many passing yards is Patrick Mahomes going to have? Is he going to have over or under 4,500 yards? You can decide that, and you can bet the over, you can bet the under, and you can mash up sports together. If you like MLB, NBA, you can mash up things together. It's awesome. It's a great place. Best of all, they're going to match your deposit bonus with the promo code NERDS. So yeah, you go in there, you put $10, they'll give you $10. You go in there, you put $25, they'll give you $25, all the way up to $100. They will match your deposit, but you got to use the promo code NERDS over at prizepicks.com. Point number 2, taking a position of need over best player available. Don't do that. That is a mistake. Do not take a position of need. And you say, well, Garrett, I really needed a running back. And so, I drafted Dameon Pierce over Garrett Wilson. Why would you do that? Don't do that. Don't do that in this year's draft. Don't do that in any draft. Look, nothing against Dameon Pierce. He might pan out and be a great player. And Garrett Wilson could be a bust, even though I think he's basically like the safest receiver in the class. But that being said, don't take a position of need over best player available. There's 2 main reasons why we want to make sure we don't do this. First and foremost, you can always trade. That's the beauty of Dynasty Fantasy Football, is there's trades are always available. So say you need a running back really bad. Okay, take Garrett Wilson at 102 and then, or 103 or whatever it is, and then trade Garrett Wilson for a better running back. Okay? Does that make sense? Point number 2, we don't know how these situations and trades will turn out. So if you are unable to make a trade, oh darn, you ended up with the better player overall. All right? There's always free agency. There's always next year's draft. You want the players that are going to get you the most points. So even if you're like, I could have really used a running back 3, well, Garrett Wilson getting you 5 more points a game is still going to be helpful in your slot or in your flex position. All right, point number 3, don't completely ignore draft capital. Yes, you have to have your own evaluation process. You need to go in, whether that's with film grades, whether that's with analytics, whether that's a combination of the 2, which is what I would recommend. But go in and do all of your due diligence, but don't just say, well, my grade for him was the running back 2 in the class, so I don't care that it got taken in the 5th round. I'm still going to take him as the second running back. No, the NFL draft tells us quite a bit. And even though we need to make sure that we're sticking to our own grades, there's sometimes we have to make adjustments based on draft capital. Perfect example, last year, Kylan Hill was my RB4 in the class. Well, he ended up going in the 7th round to the Packers, a team that didn't really need a running back, and it's the 7th round. So he moved down my board. Now, did I still take him over some other guys that were taken in the 7th and 6th round? Sure, because I thought he was a better player. But I'm not taking him above Kenneth Gainwell or different players like that simply because I like him. Oh, yeah, as I think about it, Kenneth Gainwell was my 4th. So he would have been my 5th. He was my RB5. Whatever. I had him really high. I had to move him down. So don't just ignore draft capital. Make sure you use that as part of your evaluation process and adjust even if you really like a player. All right, that's all I have for today. But if you have your own mistakes that you say, hey, we need to make sure we avoid doing these things, make sure you put them in the comments below.